Here's an entertaining one for all you guys out there that ever had an argument with your wife or girlfriend where you pointed out how she behaves at times or things she says, but of course she denies it. And then she wants proof of that, and you give her proof, and she goes even more crazy. Titled, Am I the a-hole for recording my wife without her consent? And a shout out to Jed for sending me this story. He says, So this happened a couple days ago, and honestly, I'm not sure if I went too far. My wife, a 29-year-old female, and I, a 31-year-old male, got into a massive argument. It started out over something small, like chores or bills. I can't remember, but to be honest, it escalated fast. Of course, these things always start small, then they just... She was getting really worked up, like full on screaming at me, and I'll admit I was yelling too. If this is how it is normally, you need to get out of this relationship. This is just a terrible situation. She's a terrible communicator. You get roped into the fighting and all that. No. Here's where I might have messed up. My wife has a habit of saying really nasty stuff when we argue, and in the past, she'd say things like, I never said that, or you're twisting my words, when I'd bring it up later. So in the middle of this fight, I decided to record her on my phone. I didn't think it was a big deal. I just wanted some sort of proof of what she was saying in case she ever tried to deny it later. I wasn't trying to use it against her or anything, just to have my side straight. So he's being logical here. Okay, she always says that she never did that or said that, so I'm going to record to show her proof. Then she'll understand. Yeah, good luck there. Well, she immediately noticed what I was doing, and it made her even angrier. She has had anger issues in the past. She even went into therapy for it. She started screaming at me for recording her without her permission, saying it was a huge violation of trust. Then out of nowhere, she grabs my phone and literally chucks it out the window. We live on the third floor, so yeah, the phone is toast. You knowingly married her knowing she's got anger problems? What the hell's the matter with you? Oh yeah, smack, in case you guys were like, where's the smack? Guys, don't be the guy to try to fix the girl. She's got issues, she needs to be on meds or therapy for problems. Find another chick. Let some other sucker be her or get the guy to fix her. At this point, I was fuming. Yeah, he's like, not my iPhone. I didn't say anything and just walked out to cool off. Good idea. Because you saying anything is going to be more fighting, and you're not going to get anywhere. I'm out of a phone now, and she's acting like I'm the one who crossed the line by recording her. I didn't think it was a big deal, especially since she was the one who started making threats and saying some pretty nasty stuff. But now she's saying I'm the a-hole for betraying her privacy in her own home. Mind you, she's the one that always yells and screams anytime anything happens. She can't resolve things like an adult. She's got anger problems because she was in therapy, because she says nasty, horrible things to you, and but of course, you're the bad guy here. Bro, don't argue with crazy. Don't reason with crazy. Divorce the bee. Some of my friends think I'm justified because no one should be saying things they're afraid to be held accountable for. But others think recording your spouse during an argument is a huge red flag, and I should have done that no matter what. Let me guess. His guy friends thought it was a good idea to record her because logically that makes sense, because then you can provide evidence to her that she's acting the way she did. And probably his female or man bun wearing friends thought it was a bad idea recording her. So I'm out of the a-hole for recording her during our fight, even though it led to her throwing my phone out the window. Should I just let it go? He also says, to clear a few things up, the reason I tried recording our conversation so she couldn't gaslight me later on over that. Bro, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you record her, she freaks out, as you saw. If you don't record her, then she'll say, I never said that, or make up some BS. The only way to win here is to get out of this relationship. That's the only way. This is your life. This is miserable. If you think she's going to get better, I got news for you. It ain't going to get better. Now to his update. He says, I didn't think I'd be writing this so soon, but here we are. After everything that happened with the phone incident, I figured it was time to have an actual conversation with my wife and see if we could settle things like adults. Really? You really think you can actually have an actual conversation and settle things like adults? She's nuts. She's an a-hole. She's a narcissist. You can't reason with crazy. Narcissists are always going to think they're right and you're wrong. So I got home, and surprisingly, she was acting calm. Like she actually wanted to talk. I thought, maybe this is finally going to be different. What do you think, guys? Is this going to be different? We sat down, and I started explaining where I was coming from. She was nodding along, not yelling or interrupting, which was already a huge improvement. I actually felt hopeful for a minute. Things were going all right until I mentioned that I wouldn't be able to buy her that designer bag she's been hinting about for months. The thing is, after she destroyed my phone, I needed to get a new one, and that's not exactly cheap. So I brought that up saying I need to use the money I had set aside for the bag to replace my phone. And that's when all hell broke loose. Really? She cares more about the designer bag than you? And why isn't she buying herself a designer bag? And why does she have to have a designer bag? People are so stupid with the shit they spend money on. The second I saw it, her entire demeanor changed. She went from calm and absolutely to losing it in seconds. 0 to bitch in 1.2 seconds. She started screaming at me, saying I'm selfish and that I never do anything for her. Women always do that. They lose their temper, they get upset and worked up, and immediately, you never do this, you never do that, when the thing she says you never do, you did 3 days ago. They get so worked up. The emotions go crazy. Which is, of course, BS. She was throwing things around the room, knocking stuff off the table, and basically having a full-blown meltdown. Why aren't you divorcing her? I tried to stay calm at first, but it was like everything we talked about just went out the window the second she didn't get what she wanted. So she's like a 4-year-old not getting her way. I tried to reason with her. Smack! Yeah, good luck with that, dumbass. But it was like I was talking to a wall. She was screaming about how I was ruining her life over a stupid phone. I ended up shouting back, no, that's not the way to go. But after a couple of minutes, I just couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my car keys, told her I was done with this, and walked out. I need to clear my head and get away from the chaos. Now she's been blowing my phone, sending me dozens of messages, calling me nonstop, saying things like, how could you do this to me? You're abandoning me. She's flipping between apologizing and blaming me for everything. I blocked her for now because I just can't deal with this anymore. Then he goes on and says, the divorce is final. I cannot deal with her anymore. And he said he also wants to say, to be more specific, my old work phone, I had transferred to my SIM for the time being. He also says her parents are blowing my phone now as well. And that was the end of his thing. So, gentlemen, does this sound like a happy situation to you? This is why I say you need to screen your girl, vet her properly before you marry her or propose to her. Do you think you really did? Probably not. Or she was acting crazy like this, but he was thinking, this is the best I can get. She's a pretty girl, nice pair of boobs, nice butt, she's good in the sack. You know, her wild and crazy, she channels to her performance in the bedroom. And look what he gets for that. I don't care what it costs. Divorce her. It is worth it. Because otherwise, if he thinks it's bad now, give it time, it'll be worse. And imagine if he had children with her. Let him count his blessings. He never bred with this beast. You know? My God. So guys, don't marry these types. Get to know them for a long time. Really dig in to see what they're really like. And the second there's any sign of crazy, move on. Let some other naive fool, and there's no shortage of naive fools, deal with her. Now a couple comments where I wrap this up. One guy says here, run, Forrest, run. Who would have thought that movie 30 years ago would get so many, people using that phrase from that movie? This woman is going to ruin your life. She already is. Recording these kinds of situations shouldn't need to be done, but when they are that violent and one party never owns up to what they've done or said, it's vital. Nobody believes men in these situations, and you will be the one arrested and charged. Leave her now and press charges against her for destruction of property. Well, I don't see that happening. Another one. This guy says, not the a-hole. My parents were married for 57 years. My mom was a narcissist, although we only found out that term a few years ago. She made my siblings and my life so difficult, but what we didn't know is when we were young is that she was doing the same thing to my dad. Now I'm in my mid-50s, and for the last 3 years, I lived part-time with my parents to help with the upkeep of the house and my mother's care. Oh my God. Not necessarily to help her, but to help my dad. The last thing my siblings and I want was for him to die from the stress of caring for her while putting up with her abuse. Well, the dad here is a moron for being married to her all these years. What the fuck's the matter with him? I tried recording her to show her how mean she is, but it was the small things all day and occasionally the quick freakouts of nastiness. She passed away last month. Now she can bother the devil himself. Don't let your life be like my father's life. She will not change. I don't want you to have to put up with decades of abuse to finally gain a bit of freedom at 80 years old. Well, that's very true. But a lot of guys are just so weak and worn down that they don't have the balls to fucking do it. They need someone to help give them the strength. Or they stay in it for the kids. Well, this guy's 57 years old. Okay, the dad didn't have to stay in it for the kids, obviously. So, guys, yeah, don't be like that. But anyhow, guys, the storm's coming. As you can see, getting very dark here, so I'm going to wrap this up. But anyhow, good story there. And yeah, don't try to change these types. Just get away from them.